Hello, everyone. It's Jackie. John's off camera. With openlove101.com. Thank you so much for joining us today. And this is like a big deal for those of you who have been following us for a while, because in the studio with me today on camera is Courtney.
Yeah.
No longer just a random voice off in the distance asking us questions, but Courtney and I are going to actually talk today. Courtney helps us.
She's our marketing
She's
director
invaluable
for Open Love 101, Colette,
Yeah.
other brands we've recently got involved in. She is
She's the
like
idea person.
the force behind everything. I mean,
Yes.
she really, we would not be where we are today without her.
No.
So
No.
she's for the past, how long now has it been?
4 years?
Almost 3 years?
No, almost 4
4
years.
years.
Almost 4 years.
Yeah,
She's been
4
behind
years.
off camera, helping us with these podcasts. And today she said, yeah, I don't mind being on camera. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I guess. It's been, you've already seen me on some of our Naughty Nolans videos, me and Jackie in the parade and stuff. So I'm like, well, I'm already there.
Yeah,
Might
you're
as- I'm already there.
We've already done it. It's already happened. So, but one of the things that Courtney also helps us with is kind of coming up with topics of things to talk about here to share with you guys. And the one that has her up here with me today is Courtney and I are going to discuss the misconceptions and what were some of and misunderstandings
Yes.
of a swingers club, and what both of us have learned, and how wildly off the mark we were on some things, and how maybe we were spot on others. I don't know. But this should be helpful for those that are new to coming to a swingers club. Maybe those who've never considered coming to a swingers club, but maybe after listening to this, it'll pique your interest and you'll want to try it out. And then just kind of the energy and the vibe. And not only are you going to get our view of this, but then you're also going to get a little bit of information from Courtney about, working and being involved in the business side of the club. So, our club, if you don't already know, is colletteclubs.com, which you can look at on our site. Plus, you can also click bells and whatever else we're supposed to be doing. What else are we supposed to be doing? Oh, we also have a site called openlove101.com/membership plus. It's a private membership that you can join with Open Love, and you can get kind of behind the scenes footage, and you can get one-on-ones with us, and you can we'll answer questions, all kinds of good stuff. But anyway, enough of that crap. Let's get to the heart of why we're here. Misunderstandings and misconceptions about swingers clubs.
Yeah, so I'm monogamous. Just so we set
Oh,
the,
yeah,
let's
yeah,
set the
yeah.
tone. I'm monogamous.
Yeah, that's the other fun thing is Courtney's completely in a monogamous relationship. So
Yeah, completely monogamous, open-minded,
Yeah.
but completely monogamous. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings coming from my standpoint.
take it away.
So one of them that I realized, and maybe you've experienced this too, Jackie, was when I had to come to the club for the first time. I'm working for the club, mind you. So there's that pressure of representing the club as a employee, but it was trying to pick an outfit. I cannot express how difficult it was because I'm very conservative in the way I dress. I'm very casual. And so trying to find the sexiest but conservative employee HR appropriate outfit was definitely, I was like, okay, can I have a cutout here? Do I need a cutout here? Is that weird? How are they going to look at me? And I remember I went through multiple stores, like just going through trying to find an outfit, and I walked in and John goes, hey, you look nice. And I went, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. And then you go in and you see everybody, and why did I put so much pressure on my outfit? Like,
Oh my gosh, I did the same thing. The first time that I went to the club, I was trying to do the same thing. Like, I wanted it to be kind of fun and cute and sexy, but I was also raised kind of conservative, so I wanted it to be elegant yet refined. And like, what is that?
to be fair, I never went to clubs. I wasn't that person either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is my first club experience. Oh no, it's my first sex club experience. Oh, and so yeah, it was a lot of different. I mean, I think I went through so many different outfits until now, 4 years in. I'm like, I can wear a pantsuit.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I can wear a nice, just black dress. Nothing has to be showing. It's still, women will still come up and be like, oh my God, you look so pretty, and stuff like that.
And the very first Halloween that I took you to, Jackie, was in Dallas.
No, this is so
And
sad.
we went to a costume store to get costumes. We were trying to dress same, whatever the same theme was. And I'm looking at all these sexy, like Wonder Woman, and I'll be Superman, this kind of thing where she can dress in a sexy way. And she goes to the Western section.
From like the 1800s.
Long
like
dress from her neck all the way down to her ankles.
And I wore my great-grandmother's lace-up boots, that have 5,000 laces. I mean, I look back at that picture, I'm like, oh, that poor woman. Who was that?
But I was supportive. I'm like, really, Jackie? This is where this is what I'm like, okay.
And he did. And that was really super helpful, because if you'd have been like, no, you have to go as Wonder Woman, I'd have been like, well, then I'm just not going. I just was like, it's just not gonna happen.
I guess I should have John with me the first time I worked at Colette at Halloween, because I was going, I'm like, I can't wear that cop outfit. I cannot wear the firefighter. I cannot wear. I'm like, what are the staff wearing? And I'm texting the managers and the staff. What are you wearing? Oh, a bunny.
No, I know.
No. Something with pants.
Well, and that's the thing is, I felt like it's almost like I felt like I needed those clothes as protection. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know about you. I mean, you were in like a different situation because you were going in there for work, but I was just going in as just like a patron. And I had so much fear about what I thought was going to happen when I got in there. I guess I thought it was some kind of secret initiation club that, in order to be accepted into this special club, I was going to have to, I don't know, have sex with every single person that was there, or I was going to have to, I don't even know what I think now, of what was going to happen to me when I got in there. And so I think part of my clothing was an outward sign of protection. But then I got in there, and I don't want to say that I was disappointed that I didn't have to do any of those things that I had worked up in my brain, my imagination had worked up in my brain. But by the same token, I was a little bit disappointed that none of that was happening, because I had worked up so much energy and so much anxiety and so much cortisol and so much stuff going on in my body that it was kind of a letdown, in the sense that what was actually happening didn't fit with what my imagination was. It was just a building full of married couples. There were a few single people, but everybody was super polite. They had great relationships with their partners. They were kind of out on a date night. If something happened, that was great. If it didn't, they always knew that they had each other. They just wanted to know who I was as a person. It was really bizarre. Like I really did have a huge misconception about what the club was going to be, as opposed to the reality of what the club was. And then not only that, but I realized it was this super safe haven for me as a woman.
Oh, yes. That was...
Right? That was super weird. I thought it was going to be the opposite, and that I was really going to be kind of a victim in this situation, but I absolutely wasn't. Matter of fact, I was really empowered, and not only just from a personal standpoint, but empowered by the rest of the people that were there. The other women were super supportive. Whereas I thought maybe they would make fun of my outfit, or be super critical, or have all this stigma. They weren't at all. They were all like, oh, you look so great, and I love your outfit, and where'd you get this, and where'd you get that? I mean, it was...
Yeah, that was definitely one of the weirdest things for me, too, is going in, and mine's a little bit different. I went in, I thought everyone's going to be naked. Everywhere. I thought, that's why I was like, whoa, okay, I'm going to see this and I'm going to see that, and it's going to, whoo.
It's going to be a Greek painting, or
it's going to, whoo. And so we walk, you walk in some of the clubs, and all the clubs, and there's the lounge area, and everyone's just chilling like you see in the movies at a bar, like they're just having a lounge. I'm like, oh, it's like a regular nightclub. And even in the back, it's not that, again, it's everyone's just chilling, talking. There's some playing going on. And I remember going to the bathroom in Austin, and it was one of the big Desirous parties. And I went to the bathroom, and I'm straightening my dress because I'd been running around talking to people. And girls came up and like, oh my God, you're so pretty. Oh, I love your dress. Oh my God, your lipstick. What kind is it? And I was like, I wasn't expecting it because, here I am as an employee first off, my first time at a big event. And yeah, everyone saw it. Even the husbands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even the men that were there that night, they were like, oh my God, you're so pretty. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And is this your first time? Yeah. First time at this club at,
Yeah.
working here. And yeah, you could just tell, like, the level of politeness and camaraderie with people, it was just so nice in comparison to what I expected, which was everyone just kind of standoffish and not talking.
Right. Well, and then you also, or at least I did, I expected, even if there was conversation, it was going to be more along the lines of, hey, I want to hook up with you, let's go have sex. Yep. Or sex, or do you want to see this? And look at me, and, flashing. I don't know. I just thought it was just going to be this super heavy sexualized environment. And even though, the club offers that, in specific areas, it's really interesting to me how a majority of the club and a majority of the patrons are just there, one, because, the environment's kind of relaxed and you can wear that sexy dress, and the guys can dress up, or we can have the costume parties and everybody can come in theme, and those are super fun. But it's like normalizing just other conversations. Mm-hmm. And then there's this level of protection everybody has for everybody else, because we are of like mind, and there is this sense of community. And so because there's this sense of community, there's this other layer of looking out for each other and wanting the best for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody's there because they're trying to enhance their relationship. And because of that, everybody wants everybody else to experience that. So there's people looking out for each other, protecting each other. The guys aren't super jealous. The women aren't catty. They're not in competition with each other like you see so often in other clubs. And you have to remember, a lot of the people that are in there are married.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to waltz in there and mess with somebody and not get some kind of like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah. And on that note, as a monogamous person, I would meet people, or you would introduce me to people and be like, this is our marketing person and she's monogamous. And I would have this hesitation of like, I'm monogamous surrounded by people who were not monogamous. And there was no judgment. There was no, well, why are you doing monogamy? What's holding you back from opening up? It was like, oh, cool. That sounds great. How's your husband? And just normal conversation instead of the opposite. Like when I go talk to my family about open lifestyle, it's like, why did they choose that? Why are they doing that? And it's like, well, it's because it's their life. What does it matter? I can go the other side and it's not that way.
I never thought of that. You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. What is that all about? What do you think, John?
I don't know. It's an interesting point.
It is an interesting point. Like, I could care less.
Yeah. That's the thing, is when I went to the club, no one tried to
convert
me. And I think that's one of the fears too, when I first started working for the clubs and stuff, that people were like, oh, so you're going to open your relationship now? And it's like, no, my jealousy won't let me. You know what I mean? This we have this too high of boundaries to even think about opening it on both fronts. But I don't have the opposite. Like, I don't go to a club, or when we go to Naughty Nolans or anywhere that there's open relationships broadcasted, I should say.
Right.
No one tries to convince me you should try it. Just one threesome and you'll be converted. It's like, I'm good.
Well, so as someone that's in a more traditional relationship, which I even think people that are in swinging, a large portion of their relationship is centered around kind of a monogamous platform.
Yeah.
But as someone coming into a club like this, are there things that you have learned from people that are in open relationships that you've maybe been able to incorporate into your relationship?
From the club standpoint, or just from being around people
just
who are...
being around the people in the club?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been married once before, divorced, and now this is my second marriage. And I if I had the tools now working from being around open relationships, I think it would have gone a little bit smoother my first round. But like communication, I talk way more in this relationship than anything else. Boundaries is a vocabulary word that I not only use for myself, but even my children. Just as understanding feelings and just because you feel uncomfortable about something doesn't make it wrong. It's just a boundary you have, and you can work on it, and it can change. I didn't have that my first go around. Being open, like, again, so you see people at the club, they don't, some people may not swing automatically. They just want to be around other people in their lifestyle. They may just want to play with themselves, play together. And being like, oh, okay, so that still kind of counts. You know what I mean? Like, I got it. There's no, the cheating kind of flexibility of that. I grew up where it was like anything was cheating. It's like, oh, I guess porn's not. You know what I mean? For us, it's like you can kind of bend the rules and kind of be more open-minded and understanding that side. And understand there's a relationship is not black and white. Like, I'm monogamous, but if I told people like, oh yeah, we can watch porn, they'd be like, oh my God, well now you're not monogamous because that's cheating. He's looking at another woman or whatever it is. Like, no, because he's not. He's not talking to somebody. He's not touching somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, it's fine. Like, stuff like that. Or it's okay to take pauses and like focus on yourself. That's another one too. You talk a lot about. It's like when John's out playing with somebody, like, you're able to find yourself and keep your independence and individuality in the relationship. And when I was first married, that wasn't the case. I was a wife and a mother, and I needed to take care of that. And I had a little bit of hobbies, but as long as it revolved around. Now, this time around, being like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I can be myself. I can go to New Orleans for a couple of days for work and not feel guilty that I'm not home. I can be here in the studio and I can find myself and be happy with myself. And by doing that, it's going to make my relationship better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're both happy.
Well, and I think, another one of those misconceptions about coming into a club is the people that are in there, that they're going to either not be committed in their relationship. They don't have a good relationship. They're really just there to kind of escape their partner, or they're going to be real forceful. They're going to, really come at you in a kind of alpha way. The men are going to be super controlling. The women are going to be there, but only there because the husbands want them there. All of those things were ideals that I had that would describe a club. So again, I was completely wrong on all of those counts. What I realized was so many of the women, if not a majority of them, are there of their own accord. And actually, the men would tell you that, like, once I introduced her to this, then she became kind of like the boss lady, it's the women that are kind of running the show. And then so many of the men, you expect them, or at least I did. I expected them to have this kind of machismo and this real alpha mentality, but they're really chill. There's no jealousy. They're real supportive of their wife. Just easygoing, super sweet, very respectful. They ask questions. That's the other thing too, is like you said, communication is one of those things. And so not only do you learn how to communicate with your partner, but then that bleeds over into just communicating with people.
Yeah, because that was not an option before.
Yeah.
Like, and that, it just, you talk about all the time checking in. Like,
Yeah.
we do check-ins before we go to family functions.
Right.
We do check-ins before we go on vacation,
Yeah.
during vacation. And it's a lot of, my family is like, oh, you over communicate. No, I don't over communicate. We do a healthy level of communication that's needed to make sure we're still on the same page, that no one's feeling left out, forgotten, pushed to do certain things or talk to certain people. And yeah, that's from the clubs and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And it's, you talk about with the club, just seeing how everyone interacts. And I think I've told you, my family is like, oh, y'all are too touchy. We don't touch, like, you know what I mean? Like, we're sitting next to each other on the couch. He comes up and hugs me, stuff like that. Like, oh, they're too affectionate. And I'm like, oh, you don't want to go to the club. Like, you don't want to do that. And it's interesting to me how I have a monogamous relationship. My parents do, like, all my family does. And just seeing that, being exposed
Yeah.
to a different lifestyle, how different my relationship, even monogamous, is just different. We're comfortable with each other. We're both happy because we're independent. We communicate. We have boundaries that are flexible.
It's almost like you become much more respectful of each other's individuality and more empathetic to what that is, and you get to have differences.
Yeah.
And it not be like a detriment to the relationship. It's actually something that's celebrated.
Yeah, I always tell, like, I told my kids this too recently, we're all living our first life. We can't go back and redo anything. So, my husband's living his first life as a 30-something-year-old man, and I'm living my first life as a 30-something-year-old woman. And I tell my kids, I'm living my life as a first-time mom of a teenager.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing either.
This is the first time I've raised a girl. I don't it's always first. And so it's just so interesting to me when people expect, they have these hard black and white relations. Like, it can't be anything different. It's like, well, why can't it? You're living this life for the first time. You have to try new things. You have to be flexible. You have to be understanding of your partner, that he or she is also living their first time. And
Well, I think the ability to learn from each other and how they function in their relationship and what we can garner from that, the positives from that. Because here's the thing, there's no right or wrong relationship model. Because everybody, all of these relationships consist of individuals. And I mean, there's infinite possibilities of how those two individuals are going to come together and then what that's going to pan out and look like. And so I think instead of us putting up barriers to that or trying to compete with each other about what relationship model we have or how our relationship looks or whether we're doing something right or somebody else is doing something wrong, it would seem to me it would benefit all of us if we took a much more positive approach, and instead of judging or having misconceptions or placing stigmas on things, that we actually take the time to learn about what these other people are doing and what we can take from that will help us. And perfect world would that be if we could figure out how to do that. But
honestly, have you ever looked at it? When you see a relationship, you're like, oh, I would not. Could you imagine if I talked to you that way?
Yes.
Could you imagine if I, it's interesting. You brought, it made me think about it. You never sit there and go, God, we should do that too. Or like, did you see how they held hands? Oh my God, that was so sweet. Like before, it's like I said, my parents were like, you're too affectionate. Like I could never imagine being that affectionate. It's like, well, why can't you be like, wow, they're able to, they're able to display their love. Wouldn't it be nice if we could do something a tiny bit like that? Or, but it's always that negative connotation.
It is. I know one of the things John and I love to do, doesn't really have anything to do with the club, but it kind of does in a sideway way, is whenever we're traveling and we're at the airport, we always try to, especially if we're traveling to an event that revolves around swinging, like maybe Naughty and Nollins or maybe a cruise or some other trip that's done, we try to pick out the other swingers that are at the airport. And invariably we can, but the interesting thing is some of the highlights of that is the couple's usually very touchy with each other. They're very close. There's lots of laughing. There's lots of like connection. Sometimes the outfits can give it away too.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, those must be swingers because they act like they like each other, or they act like they're newlyweds. It really is interesting how that's kind of a common thread too. And you see that in the club too. That's the other misconception that I was talking about, is that these people are in here because they don't like each other and they're trying to find somebody else. But instead you find these couples that are super into each other. They're super into what their partner's doing, and they move almost as a unit. It's really, really interesting. There's a lot of people that are in the lifestyle that have businesses together. So they are like literally 24/7 with each other.
Yeah.
And it works. But, I think the important thing with having this kind of interview and talking about this is just don't read a book by its cover. Sometimes, make it a field trip, make it an experiment. Let's do something outside the box and just see what it's like. And then that way we can actually make an informed decision instead of reading the headline of something else and assuming that that's true.
Courtney, do you have any experiences at the club that maybe like stories or something funny or really crazy that happened at a club you want to share with us?
Well, the first one I can think of, and we've talked about plenty of times, was I went to the bathroom at the Desires party, and I went to the bathroom and whatever, and I was washing my hands, and there was a group of girls that were like, "Oh my God, John and Jackie are here! Oh my God, John and Jackie are here! Oh my God!" And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Do you want me to introduce you?" No, I could never. And I was like, "No, please, guys, listen to me. Approach them, talk to them. They're fine. They like it." I can't tell you how many times I have to hold people's hands and go, "Look," and John's like, "Hey, how's it going?" So there's that. And then, I think one of the ones I was going to talk about too, that you don't have to bring a bag. I thought everyone, because of lockers being at the club, I thought everyone just had like a plethora of things.
Yeah.
And going to the couple times to the club, I didn't have that. Like, people may put their purses up or, stuff like that, or a change of clothes. And then there was one time that a guy had come in and checked in with his wife, and she's all nervous and she's shy and she's real small, and he's, taller. And, I'm introducing, I'm doing a tour, and the bag fell. And so many things just spilled out on the floor.
Of hers?
Yeah.
Of theirs?
Of theirs. And mind you, she's very quiet and very
timid,
shy and very sweet, and he's like very caring and nurturing, but you could tell that he talks, and helps her. And just all these things fell on the floor, and they're looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and I kind of look at the floor, and I go, "Do you want me to help you?" And she goes, No, please, don't touch my stuff. And I was like, "Okay." And we just stood there for
like toys,
comfortable. Yes, it was toys. It was different outfits.
Yeah,
but you could tell she was like, when you go to the OB and you like hide your underwear from the OB,
right.
like you hide it in your pants.
Yeah, you fold it up and
like they're gonna they're gonna see everything down there, but you can't see your underwear. And so she had underwear, and there was that. I could pick up the toys. Like I'm like, "I'll help you. I'll get the wipes or whatever." But I knew not to touch her underwear.
Yeah,
it was like, she will die if I touch her underwear. So that was one, because it was just this really funny moment, because it's loud, but everything just zones in. It's so quiet. You don't know what to do. So that'd be one of them. There's obviously others that we've had where I've checked somebody in, like, "Oh, it's my first time. And I'm like, "Oh," like you said, just talk, mingle, don't feel pressure.
Right.
Don't. Just hang out. It's a club. And then they leave and their hair's a mess, and I go, "Oh,
yeah,
it was great." And I was like, "Okay." They're like, "Thank you so much." I'm like, "I did nothing but tell you to talk to somebody." So yeah, that would probably be my two PG ones. There's obviously ones that I've been like, "Oh my God." There's a lot of times I tell, my mom asks me how it is working in the back, like when I float and walk around, and I tell her you just turn something off on your brain.
Yeah.
So that way, like, and it just, reality slips back in. You're like walking, oh, I'm at the club. Like, you know what I mean? You see someone, oh, okay. I didn't know that was possible. Okay, just keep walking. But yeah, there's a lot of ones like that.
How about you, Jackie?
I think for me, it was probably the first time that I ever went back to the playrooms and actually saw someone else, having sex. Mm-hmm. It was like I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to be doing. Yes. Like, am I supposed to, like, I didn't want to watch, but then I was like watching.
I walk in the back and my hands are up sometimes.
Yeah.
Because it's crowded sometimes. Like, it's really packed. And so I'm like, I'm not touching anybody. I'm not touching anybody. And then, so, my hands are up and everyone's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't work here enough. Yeah. I don't know how this works.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I turn a part of my brain off when I'm at work. It's like, oh.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you can.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
yeah. It's one of the sad things about being a swinger club owner.
Well,
is when I first had clubs, everything that I saw was so exciting and a turn on and different, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe
we're
that.
Gonna try that.
And now I walk through the back, and it's like I don't see anything.
Yeah,
it just really has changed, and sometimes I miss that like little boy excitement that I used to have in the beginning, and I still have it, but just not in that way. Not like when I'm walking through the club, I don't feel that way at all.
I will say one of the things I've realized, because it's something that people are afraid of. They're afraid to go to the club or somewhere public and see somebody they know, right? I can't.
Right,
I've had employees.
yes.
I've run into employees where they're like, oh my God, that was my 5th grade teacher.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to make them awkward. Like, they don't care. Like, they just know they're here to have a good time.
Yeah.
But then they're worried about you being uncomfortable.
Right.
And I mean, I've run into people I know.
Yeah.
Without saying who it was or if they know who it is. But I've run into people and I've been the same thing. Like, I will stand here in the lounge and you can do whatever you want. I won't see you. In fact, I'll go to the door. I'll check out. I'll clock out. Like, whatever makes you feel comfortable. But that's also a wild experience when you see somebody
Oh my God!
Well,
if I were in my 20s and ran into my 5th grade teacher, I'd be like, "Yes!"
Oh no!
This is why John's not on camera.
Yes.
No, and that's another thing. It's like if you see somebody that it's going to be this big, huge deal, but you have to remember those people are in there too. And I like to think that majority of people are good people, and they're not just going to be like, oh, I'm going to rat this person out, or I'm going to do some kind of vengeful thing. And I know of one couple in particular that they saw a couple from their neighborhood in there, and they tried to sneak out, and they got to their car and they got a text, and it was like, we already saw you, you might as well come back in, we're not going to say anything. But probably one of the biggest deals was we had a couple that were in the club, and I can't remember which way it was. It was either they were in the club and their parents walked in, or the parents were there and the kids, the kids walked in, like their son and his wife. And so then they realized, oh, okay, well, now we're going to have to coincide our calendars, because like you can go on this night and we'll go on this night. But, people make it work, and they're respectful. And that was probably another misconception that I would say that I had was, people are going to just be saying, oh, you're not going to believe who I saw in there. But
yeah, that's definitely one. Where they think that as soon as you're seen, you're going to be outed.
Yeah.
And it was even the person I had run into was like, don't say anything. I'm like, I'm not
going to say
I don't
anything.
care what
Like,
you
I
do
don't
in
care.
here. Like, it is definitely that misconception. And even
and that's the thing. It's the same with like the relationship model. Like, you're in here, we don't care.
Yeah.
We're in here too. I mean, like, we're not going to judge you for being in here. It's the people that aren't here that maybe are going to judge you, but not us.
Yeah. This brings up another thing, John. So when I first got hired and interviewed, I remember going to the interview, and my mom, I'll just say it. My mom was like, is his wife going to be uncomfortable that you're coming? Like, he's a swinger. Does she think that you're going to be a hookup? Does she know? And I'm like, I don't know. I hope he told her it's an interview. Why you got to make this awkward for me? I'm already nervous.
Now I already feel weird.
And then I go to my first interview. We did all, everything. And I'm like, okay, well, I got the job. Okay, what does his wife think? And I'm like, She was lovely. She was cooking breakfast. I don't know. What do you want from me? And even now there's times where she's like, I'm like, all right, I'm going to the club. And she's like, going with John? I'm like, yeah, John and I are going to Dallas. And he goes, is Jackie coming? I don't know. Probably. He's like, oh, well, when you take photos, do they think y'all are together? Why would they think we're together? And that's one of the big ones too. It's like, isn't it uncomfortable for his wife? No, I don't think she cares. She knows I'm very monogamous, and they over communicate. And so that misnomer of anyone that you look at, you have to be sleeping with. Everyone John looks at has to, like, I saw this picture he posted with this person. Are they sleeping together? First off, I don't know. I don't know.
None of my business.
None of my business. Second off, is your business.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, well. No, this has been fun. I mean, I feel like we've covered probably just about anything you could have a misconception about, or at least what we did.
Yeah, for sure.
Just know if you know somebody that's in an open relationship and you're monogamous, just know they're not going to convert you.
Yeah.
They're not doing deviant things in the club. They're probably just hanging out with their friends. And if they are, it's all consensual.
Right.
So, I mean, what does it matter? And it's not that different. The relationship model it has the same groundwork. It's the same baseline ingredients of building this pie together. It's just some things are a little bit different. You have a little extra spice in some, but yeah.
That's a good point.
Courtney, thanks for being on here with us today. That was great. And good job, Jackie.
Well, thanks.
Leading the show.
Well, we will see you guys next time. See ya.
Great job, Jackie. And if you like that video, please click the button below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll give you plenty of more. Plenty of more? Kidding me?